just the other day, what we did was we put together our great magical soil for the raised bed. Remember, it's that good garden soil recipe with the professional potting soil, bumper crop, a little iron sulfate, gypsum for the calcium. And I didn't tell you why the calcium was important. It's important for tomatoes especially because they love, love, love the calcium so they don't get the blossom end rot. And that's that kind of leathery brown patch on the bottom of the tomato that many times you'll get. And the gypsum definitely helps. And then later in the season we have wonderful liquid things like Folical that we can apply to the plants that can absorb more calcium. So iron sulfate, gypsum for the calcium, and then wonderful tomato vegetable food that all gets incorporated into the bed. So it's ready to go. And so I set it up for you, and I promised I wanted you to see how many plants I can wedge into this tiny, tiny little garden. And I've got my wonderful, I love these durable tomato cages because they truly do last from season to season. And guess what? In the wintertime, you can use them to grow sweet peas on. So it's really very multi-talented cage. In terms of the mix of veggies I always have my favorite go-tos. I love the celebrity tomato because it dodges a lot of the disease bullets. Nice, big tomato. It's a great tomato. Sun Gold tomatoes, tiny, sweet, delicious golden tomatoes that never ever make it to the kitchen, it seems. They're always eaten in the garden because they're so doggone delicious. Oh my goodness, they're good. So celebrity, and then after that I kind of play with new varieties, things that I'd like to try that I haven't tried before. This year I added a yellow or golden brandywine. So this is a very late season heirloom that'll be golden in color. Can you just see that yellow on the plate sliced? Oh my God. And then green zebra, that's another of my favorites. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to save a spot for green zebra because I didn't find it here for this taping. But I promise I will get a green zebra in there, that yellow and then the green zebra, beautiful green on the plate with the red. It's just absolutely wonderful. And aroma. Aroma is a great paste tomato, great for slicing, great for eating as well, but a wonderful one for cooking, canning, which is really super. But the Roma types are the ones that many times will get that blossom end rot, so you've got to be on the lookout for that. And then, let's see, what else did I add here? So I've got Ace beefsteak, some very, very wonderful standard great varieties that are really fun to play with. Peppers, we talked about in veggie land that it's always fun to have one that's really sweet. And then if you like a little spice, you've got lots of varieties. I chose a little Charlie Brown jalapeno to add to the garden today. And this cage I reserve. Now let me help you with the orientation. So you can see the sun is laying on us here. This is south facing here. And it's kind of in this sort of canyon between the fence and the house. But this is south, so it gets a lot of sun, except for in the morning because my beautiful Eureka lemon is casting some shade on it. So I always want to put kind of the taller things to the back so that what they do is they can kind of catch a lot of that sun. And then what I'll do is I'll situate some of the things that don't quite need as much sun to the front. Peppers and cucumbers are two that and eggplant, it's a little bit too early at this taping for eggplant, will all tolerate like a full morning of sun rather than a hot full day. So I will put those on sort of the north side of the bed so that they can get a little shade break. The other thing that likes a little shade break in the afternoon is basil. I have no basil to plant today, but I promise you it will be in this garden, kind of nestled at the edge of the bed or in another pot next door, because it is an absolute must in the garden. And then typically I would do cucumbers on this. But again, it's a little bit too early, but guess what? Because it's early, we still have time to plant peas. So I found a really great 6-pack of sugar snap peas. Oh, yum! That's another one that's hard to get to the kitchen because they're so yummy. And so we're going to trellis the sugar snap peas on this. And I have this amazing recipe, this provincial chicken recipe that requires fresh thyme. And there's nothing like a fresh herb from your garden that goes right to the kitchen. And you know, I should share that amazing recipe. It's really, really delicious. It's a chicken tomato wonderful recipe. Delicious, delicious. All right, well, as you can see, so what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tomatoes. And I'll have to find room for that green zebra somewhere. We have a 6-pack of sugar snap peas, and we have a couple wonderful peppers. Again, they're going to get a little bit more shade, but they're going to like that, and that's going to work great. And my little herb, and it is a permanent planting, can kind of just spill over the edge and wait for that wonderful recipe time to come up in the future. So I am going to tap this little guy out of the pot. Just gently turn it upside down. Sometimes you can go like that just to kind of encourage it. And the plants these are very young, beautiful plants. You can see these gorgeous white roots, very healthy, ready to grow. You don't want to do any root massaging here. You want to make sure that you just take this and pop it into a hole right here. We've already prepared this earth so we can nestle it in. Now, interestingly enough, with tomatoes, you can plant them deep because the little hairs on the little stem will turn into roots eventually. So you can, you don't have to, but you can certainly. So I have nestled in my little celebrity, and that's going to get kind of stapled to the edge here so we remember who's where. And then we will, let me just get our aroma going here. Tap that out. And again, look, beautiful, beautiful white roots. And I don't know if you can see, but the little glistening hairs on the edges of the stem, those will turn into roots if you put them underground. Again, we're going to just nestle it in here. Nestle, nestle, nestle. Tuck it in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get our label. We've got to get our label to remember where everybody is. And then we're going to pop our tomato cages over the top of them. So we're going to go like this. There we go. And this guy, we're going to just go. And before this taping, I was having a hard time pulling them apart. So I just a couple of them, I just plumped them on the ground, and they said, okay, I'm coming. It's time to get going here. It's tomato season. All right. Great. So there we go. And it would be just the same with all these guys. Here are the little sugar snap peas. And again, I'm just going to pull this out, tease it a bit. Now this has a fair amount of roots in the bottom. So I think I'm going to do something called tickling the roots. We're not going to do a wholesale massaging. We're not going to we're not going to hydro wash all the soil off of them, but we're just going to tickle them just a little bit. We don't want to stress them out too much. And then what we'll do is we'll tuck them in so that they can find their way up our wonderful little trellis. And they will do that and find their way all the way up. So we're going to pop in a 6-pack there. And, I think you kind of get the idea. So I think that works out really well. And everybody will get put in. Then we'll give it a really, really, really good drink. Very important because the soil hasn't been hydrated yet. The soil in the pots, really great. Whenever you're planting anything, the recommendation is to water it before you plant it in its original pot. Fill it up a couple times, and the whole little root ball is nice and hydrated. So that's a really important tip. Okay, so we're going to encourage you to share this, if you can, with your friends and family, those that may be ready to plant a veggie garden. This might be a little, hint for them, a little helpful hint for them to get growing. Good. Okay, there you go.